Hey everybody, great to be back here with you. Mike Fairborn here for our ThinkScript class, folks. I've been looking forward to this class for some time. Had several requests on it. Now, it's not the volume weighted average price. We've discussed that. Volume weighted average price is a very interesting one. We have a class done specifically on that, but this is the anchored VWAP, the anchored volume weighted average price. And with that is really fascinating. You guys might know already, and based upon a lot of the classes we've taught, I'm kind of a sucker for those longer term cumulative volume sort of indications. Well, this is kind of great because it combines cumulative volume like you'd see with the money flow indicator tied into an average price indicator, giving us kind of a read. Are prices, are buyers, breaching above that level, or prices extending above this level? Are there more buyers than sellers? So really looking forward to it. Welcome to each of you joining us here in the chat. Hello to you, Ray. We've got Ray. We've got Scott, Chris B, Taylor. How's it going, Will? Taylor, Greg, Gentle John, and Riceberg, as well as Bush 8534. All right. Well, with that, I am joining the chat. As you can see right there, James Boyd is in the chat. A good friend, colleague of mine. I've known James for at least a good solid 15 plus years. It's great to have him as a friend, as a colleague. You'll see him in the chat as JB. All right. And with that, let's get started here with some disclosures so we can jump right into our content today. Now, information here is for general information purposes only and should not be considered an individualized recommendation. The paper money software application for education purposes only. Backtesting results, which we do look at in this class pretty regularly, right? We backtesting different ideas and concepts. Those are hypothetical, and there is no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results. Investing involves risk, including for some products more than your initial investment. Past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results or success. Futures and futures options trading does involve substantial risk, not suitable for all investors. All right, that's it for our disclosures. Just a quick wrap here, too, on our discussion as we go through just some of the general steps to ThinkScripting. These can be helpful bullet points to keep in mind. A lot of times when we do go through, we look at goals, etc. Today, really, you could say with an anchored VWAP, we're looking at combinations of average price and average volume, and seeing if price can breach above that level or drop below, giving us an indication, are there more buyers than sellers? We always ask in ThinkScripting help meet this goal. Anytime you're using an indicator, which we've done the past several weeks, very helpful. I did borrow indicator concepts, of course, because we are using that indicator. And the beautiful thing about it is the scripts tend to work very quickly with an indicator. It's very well programmed, you could say, into ThinkScript, and it's very fast and very effective. It gives you what you want. In this case, we're just trying to set it up so that it gives us exactly the scenario we're looking at. In other words, that sort of value line, it's been referred to as the value line. Are prices breaking above it within the last 3 days? Or on the reverse side, are they breaking below it? Excited to talk about it in a little bit more detail here. But of course, we do share that script. Today, that script, we can convert the script if we wanted to, but today's script is going to be a scan. So you can scan any basket of stocks as large as you want that to be. And we have some pretty large baskets out there. I think the NYSE, the NYSE, is 2,700 plus stocks in there. Yeah, it's right in that range. And you can scan through a huge number and just get an amazing number of companies that are just breaking above that level just within the last day or two, or whatever you want. That's the beauty of the scan. I've made it adjustable so you can set the time frames as well as the dates. More on that in just a second. Looking forward to it very much. So let's dive on into it. Welcome to those of you just joining us here as well. It is the anchored VWAP. If you are one of those that requested this, I think I've got several of these requests for the anchored VWAP. And I'm kind of saying why in a lot of ways. I do love the aspect of a money flow type cumulative volume indicator. Can be very effective as opposed to just a single day. All right, so let's look at the market right now and see what we're doing. I've talked about this previously, just real quick. This can be helpful. Lets us know, do we want to be bullish, bearish? Of course, market considerations can be helpful. Ascending triangle, both breaks, both kind of similar moves outside of that. And by the way, both of these touching off support right there if you'll just take a little time, just extend, so easy to do. Just extend that upper trend line over to the right. Gosh, I didn't draw right very good. You can see it. Just keep it going over there. A lot of times you get support. Look over here with me. Support as well, right there. Okay? So it's really, really interesting what can set up and what you can see right there on the chart. But generally speaking, yeah, we are, it's, well, it was an all-time new high today, right? As well. Let's go long term, just give us a quick glance of our monthly there. And there you have it. Again, that is today. We've been able to say that for quite some time, haven't we, as we've looked through this. Now, you guys, a lot of times, when we do look like in this class, for example, here is the ES. So this is the E-mini S&P 500, and I do have money flow. And this is one of the reasons why we do look at the market as well. But just a quick note, this is a cumulative volume indicator. However long our time frame is that we've set up over here, it adds volume on up days and subtracts volume on down days and can give us a really interesting read on what's been happening with the market, generally speaking, on any given stock. And you can see over here, what have we got? Traders really like to see higher overall volumes according to the money flow coming in, more buyers than sellers as the trend is going up. What is a red flag is when you get just the opposite. And by the way, you know what you saw right over here? Before this dip, this big dip in April, maybe some of the bigger institutions were heading out of the market here. Look at this down here. Look at this. We started to make lower lows and substantial lower lows, breaking lows here, even as we were just testing this little minor support level here. It's a really interesting indicator. We're going to add a component to this today, something I'd never had really done. I had not looked at the A, standing for anchored, volume, weighted, average price. I know that's a lot, but there you go. Anchored, volume weighted average price, or the AVWAP for short. In fact, I want to explain it too, just so you have a sense of what's going on. Let's take a look at a company here. Well, we'll use Apple as an example trade here, just to look at it, which, by the way, is giving us an interesting, just as a side note, flag pattern right over here. As we've got a prior high, maybe set to break resistance. Who knows? But we're going to use this as our sample here to give us a sense of what's going on with the anchored VWAP. All right, so we've got that down. So the first thing I wanted to explain is how it is calculated. Let me take some of these off for now, and we'll go right into our anchored VWAP right here. And I'm going to click on it right there, and there you go. Just, you have to type in anchored. It's not a VWAP, it's just anchored VWAP. And by the way, as you look into it, there is a main line VWAP, and it's got a begin date on here, okay? It's got a beginning date, and it's got an end date. I'm going to show you that and how that works here in just a second, but you've got the accumulation distribution to the upside and to the, you've got the standard deviations from the main line in here. Let's just change this for a second. I'm going to go ahead and just get a color that we can maybe see a little bit better off that background. We'll make it, green here. And I'll explain how the indicator works just briefly so you have an idea of what this calculation can do when we're scanning for it, okay? So what this shows, and you can see right here, and this is what a lot of traders will look for, and that is this break above. This is the WAP right there, in blue. That's the line. It did come at a very interesting point right there, and we broke higher off of it. Now, I want to explain it in detail to kind of give you a sense of what's going on. Now, what it does to calculate this line, because volume is really an important critical factor of this. Think about that money flow and how it's given us very interesting divergences, etc. But now we're saying, hey, we've averaged volume. Let's average price. So we've got volume here. We've got price up top. Let's get a cumulative read on both of these. Okay, so let me explain what's going on with the anchored VWAP first and foremost. Okay, so it does use, let's talk about price first. And here are the four key price data points: open, high, low, and close. Now, the AVWAP uses three of those, high, low, and close. It adds those all together and it divides them. I'll just leave that line in there by three. So high, low, high plus low plus close divided by three. That gives us our volume, our price. Okay, our price itself. Now, what we end up doing is we times it by the volume. So we have this number in terms of price. That's our average price on the day. That is right here. Whatever that average price is, and then down below we've got the average volume on the day. When we combine those two, what we're basically getting is we're multiplying it by the daily volume. I'll just put DV for short, daily volume, and we get this line. Now, the really fascinating part comes in is we take accumulation of that, and that's exactly what this indicator does. It takes the average price over the time frame we're looking at here. We're at a 1 year right now, and you can see that it's very, very close. If you look at it, it's kind of like the mid-range, is it not? Right through here on a 1 year basis. This line fits kind of in the middle between price. It does take the average price over that time. Now, it also takes the accumulation of the average volume. So what we're actually dealing with within this indicator is we're going to take the cumulative, I'll just cumulative for short, cumulative price volume, which is what we calculated up top here, over the cumulative volume. Cumulative, and that means over that entire time frame volume, and that is the anchored VWAP. Okay, and so it's giving us a read on where that's at, and a lot of traders will look at this as a potential entry point if we're above it. Buyers are winning kind of the battle at this point in time. Now, this one doesn't show us much at all. What I would say is over here to the far left, you can see over here, this is a bit of a kind of a, I don't know what it was. It may be a longer term swing trade pattern or a bull flag type pattern here. In fact, I had flags written there. I think it probably was a flag. But you'll notice that you get a crossover, but you get the buy-in of volume too. So average price, average volume on a cumulative basis over a shorter period of time there with volume and price, it says, hey, we might be getting a major shift, and volume is playing a key role directly within that. Okay, so with VWAP, that just resets daily. So it's kind of like an intraday trading device, but with the AVWAP, it's a continuous calculation from the start of the date. Now, I could go over here and I could look at a shorter term one. As a matter of fact, what I want to do is throw this into a specific time frame, and this is why it's so important, because I don't know if everybody is a long-term trader. I think it's a good reference to look at a 1 year chart. But a lot of times I think, especially given certain market conditions, if we think it's overvalued or undervalued, or if it's just the time frame you're following, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, this might make more sense because now you're averaging the volume to match a shorter time frame with prices as well. Let's click on it. When did this break really occur? Right here. Once we truly got above that level here and cleared some highs, we really took off. Here's one, for example. Here is CRWD, CrowdStrike Holdings, okay? But we've actually got an example trade on this already in place from the swing trade class. But you'll notice what happens here. This can be very, very interesting to start the accumulation of price and volume at a high end. This does a really good job of estimating that. You know what this actually was? This is a longer term potential weekly flag pattern. I'm going to pull it back to prove it to you here in just a second. But thinking about a flag entry point, if that's our flag, because our prices went over here. In other words, it looks like this. We're looking at this pullback right here. Okay, we got close to this point. We didn't break it. We got close, folks. This indicates strength. Now, we took a trade on this class right here as it began to break higher from another potential swing trade here, but it was above, I should say another flag pattern, but it was above the AVWAP line, okay? And it will follow these down. Let me pull it back just to show it to you on a 1 year basis. So there's a lot going into it. I want to explain it here. Just ignore this line right now. We're looking at a shorter term time frame, and this is how many traders use the AVWAP. They put it at a particular date. The 3-month was very, very close for CrowdStrike. But do you guys see now that weekly swing trade? Possible that weekly flag, I should say weekly flag and accumulation here. Now that zero lag EMA that we did, the Zilema, a few weeks ago, that caught this earlier. But this is known as a secondary sort of indication, adding in volume and average price over the time frame that we're looking at. Okay, to show you this indicator too, before I get into the scan, because we're going to be able to spot these on any time frame we want, however many days we want to look back. If your time frame that you generally tend to trade is 6 months, just like that, 3 months, no problem. We can do it with the scanner, right? We have enough tools to do that within ThinkScript. But let's say, for example, I'm going to point to this exact high right here, because this is a lot of times what traders will look for. They'll look at the top of a potential, the pull of the move of a flag trade or whatever pattern it might be, and they'll look for the potential entry here where prices come back into the direction of the underlying trend. They want to see that buyers are in control in terms of just volume of buying. So let's take this number right there, that date, 7/3, okay? So the 3rd of July, I'm going to go into the daily chart, go into time frame, go right into custom. Let's put it right into July, 3rd of July. So it starts there. So we are anchoring our VWAP on a given date so we can start to see where the buying and selling is at. Generally, it's kind of a fair value read on the average volume, average price from there. Now, a key point down here, aggregation period, folks, you've got to flip this into a daily chart. You could go shorter term, but we're just using daily, and there you go. See how close that was to a 3-month chart? You barely closed right at it there, but this was a big news day, and obviously, yeah, we broke above that. It's an expensive stock. We only did 25 shares on this, and by the way, we are trading this. Oh, I'm not seeing my target. That's odd. We're trading this up to a swing trade target. I'm just eyeballing it here. Somewhere in here, you know, is the T2 target that we talked about, the swing trade class. But notice this is a swing trade within a larger swing trade. That's why it can be really interesting to go back and look at a longer term VWAP, just a longer term chart. But there you go. We've anchored it. That is the beauty of this right here. All right, now let's take a look at some of the stocks out there that are just barely crossing above this level across multiple time frames. Before I do that, though, if we do go into the scan tab, I'm going to show you guys here. This could be built. I'm going to show you this within the condition wizard, but there's one major thing that it leaves out, and that's a big thing that you want to have, actually, and that's the time frames, because all of us have different time frames. Otherwise, it's just always going to be looking at a 1-year chart, which is what happens here. Let me show you. But it is a way to get started on it. Let's click on this. I'll pull it up right now, and I'm just going to do the basics. And this is actually going to be kind of cool because it does help to explain what we're doing. Right, so we're just looking at price action, and we're going to say closing of prices. I'll pull this over here just so you can, there we go. So here's the closing of prices right here. Now, we're going to look at close. There's not much more we can do on it. But notice over here, the key point is it's an action. It's a crosses above is what it's doing here. It's crosses above. Now, it's going to cross above what? The VWAP line, the anchored VWAP line. Here's our study. It's ANCH. There we go. Anchored VWAP. You have to select. Do you want it to be off the upper band, lower band? Well, we're just going to look at the mainline VWAP area here. And we can come down here and look at this. Now, I found in here that as I set this up, it's not functional. So it just looks at a 1-year chart. Whatever I throw in, it's a 1-year chart. So it doesn't give us the 6-month, the 3-month time frame. That's where this scan up here can help us. And I'm going to show you right now what this does. All right, so here is the AVWAP breakout, and if we could click on scan, we should get 4 stocks that come up. Let's look at those real quick. I'll explain how traders will trade this too, but that is on the NASDAQ 100. So what did they do? We've got a couple of healthcare, well, biotech specifically, that had a recent move. It turns out that maybe buyers are in control, referencing the AVWAP line. So let's take a look at those right now. Let's go to a daily chart, because that's what I have it set up initially, and then we can go from there. Okay, so BIIB. So this is crossing above. There you go. And look how well, it's so unique, but look how well it hugged over that long period of time. Literally touched right off of it. Cumulative volume. So think about money flow now tied in sort of into price, and you're actually seeing it on the chart. We touched again there. We broke above, and we did make a higher high, and then there is what I would say interesting volume move right there too, but a clear break above there. You could see that within, folks, the last 2-3 days, which is, and you can set this up however you want it, within our last 2 days, we broke above that level. Amgen was another one, AMGN, and there you go, giving us some indication that the healthcare group could be showing some strength. But these two specifically over that line. Now, a quick note too on the standard deviation. I think many of you guys might be familiar with this. These look like Bollinger Bands or Keltner channels. Specifically like Bollinger Bands, though, they do use standard deviations. And standard deviation itself represents a 95% of the range. And in this case, we're talking about the anchored VWAP over the period of time. So what traders will do is they will use these as targets or potential exits down below to get out at. Exits and targets. If it hits that level, exit it. It could also be, I guess, a target on the downside, on a downside trade, but specifically a target. You can see up top here, you hit your target. And what happened after that level? Well, you dipped, and that's just coming right off the scan. But that could be used as a target. You don't have to use it that way. It could be used as a reference. You don't even actually have to have those listed if you don't want to. But I do find them interesting, and there you go. That is the standard default, how it is used. Now, I wanted to show you over here. In fact, I'll just share the scan right now. But and by the way, the scans are not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. Well, I should say the ThinkScripts are not. I'll just take a look and see how we're doing as well. But let's go over here and let's do this. Share the scan query, and then we'll look at it. I just posted it into the chat. There is the AVWAP scan. And remember, we are in the Stock Hacker, and you can put it into any kind of a group or basket that you want to put it into. This is in the NASDAQ 100 right now. And this is a longer term time frame, but I still wanted to show it to you because with this particular scan, we can make quick adjustments to it. And I'll show you how that's done very fast. All right, once you've got it. Okay, so that's there. And again, for those of you that don't know how to, post this, just go or put it in. Just go to setup up top. The Mac would show something similar. It would just show setup. Go down to open shared item. Folks, just paste that in, hit preview, and then you can rename it down here. I just called it Anchored VWAP. That's the name of the scan, and you'll have it right there. Now, a quick note just up top. I do oftentimes put my X handle on here. I put the X handle up top just because I do get feedback on it, and sometimes there are people that take it to a whole different level, and I really love to see it. That's one of the reasons, because I do love to see the feedback that you guys have on it, and just to get general feedback if you've got it. Now, one quick note on this, I just have to say right now, going through an issue right now with my X handle, as we did try to cancel out some imposter accounts, and it looks like one of the imposters got the better hand and said that I was the imposter, and X said, yes, you're the imposter. Me. Okay, so I'm the imposter, so my account's suspended. And the imposter's account is still up. Anyways, long story short, it's suspended right now. So if you have any topic requests, just send that through on the YouTube comments down below. All right. Yes, let's look into it right now because I did copy some of that as well. I'm gonna jump into that. So Thea is spot on, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's jump into that script right now. Let's click on it, pull it up here. I'll explain what's going on. Now, this is what you can change. I've got this set up for us just in our standard look back for breakout window, right, that we have. And I have it set at 3. If you wanted to get one that's breaking out today, and there are going to be some that are above the time frame that we're looking at today. I mean, it's breaking above that main AV WAP line today. You'd get it. I mean, okay, it's just going to reference those. But I said, hey, maybe over a 3-day, you could say 10-day, whatever you want within that window, it would be there. Anchor distance, I've just said 252. That is 1 year. If you go back and add up all the market days, it's very, very close to a 1-year time frame. But that, folks, is not going to match everybody's trading time frame. So I just put a couple of references in here. You could potentially use 126 in place of that 252. It's got to be there in this area, not over here, or 63 for 3 months. You could put that over in this area to match your own specific time frame. That's the unique aspect of this. Okay, and it will kind of match those in for you, and you can get that set up. But as opposed to just doing a 1-year time frame and then the look back period. Now, we've defined what that price volume is, and we've already explained that's the high. We have to define it, the high plus the low plus the close. Believe it or not, there are a few people out there that are using the open as well. And if you want to use the open, it's as simple as adjusting that formula. Just put open in there, plus the high, low, and close, and get all 4 of the price data inputs if you want. But this is as near as I can tell, that's the standard. That's what Thinkorswim uses, and I found that to be the standard. Then you divide it by the 3, and again, you're getting that average price, right? Average price on the day. Now, I borrowed this right from our formula here, and it was just beautiful. So easy to do. But I put some final details in here for you. Just a couple of notes in here as well. We did create it as a scan as opposed to a market watch tab, which can be done. But this is the accumulation formula that adds back up to the time frame, so it references back the anchor bars back that we've got. So it wasn't too bad to put in. Actually, one of the quicker ones to do. Anyways, that's it. But we're going to change this into a 3-month, and guess what? We're going to see a whole different group of stocks. It's going to match maybe more of the swing trade time frame within the NASDAQ that happens to be making new highs. Click. Let's just take a look and see what we get. Oh, plenty more. Okay, quite a few more, actually, that we're getting. Let's look at a few of these. AMD's in there. AMD. All right. Oh, we got to flip our chart to the 3-month time frame so it makes sense. But what's interesting here is notice a real big portion of the explosive part of the move happened as we took out. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? You stopped right there at that level. You stopped again. You broke it on a big bar with volume. And folks, buyers were pretty much in charge at that point. That's fascinating. That is fascinating. That you would never see that line if you're not taking an accumulation of volume and price at that time frame. I know I'm going off on a ramble here, but that's interesting what you're seeing on a daily chart, because I think this is a good reference too. But something happened over here. Look what you're getting. Do you see it? There's another flag pattern here. And what we're seeing on the scan is we just took this out, and buyers might start to come back into control. Meaning that the longer term trend that we see over here could start to resume. And we're getting that indication, at least, from the AVWAP. Let's go back into our 3-month, because this is what the scan was looking at right here. So time frame, 3 months, and there you go. Do you see it? More resistance lines right off of that top. You see what I'm saying? Right at the end of the flag, potential flag. We haven't broken out yet. And so I can't say based upon the actual price pattern until you start to extend, close above that level, extend higher here. Then we call it a flag, but it's still looking like right in that area. Look at this. This is interesting. Touched right off the top. Off the top. Couldn't hold it on the day. Couldn't hold it on the day. Yesterday, we just barely closed up above it. Excuse me. Yeah, yesterday and today, confirmation. Now, does this guarantee that it goes higher? Folks, we can't use the guarantee word because the market's an open system. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't. It'd be great if I did. You could see the future here, but we just don't know. The market's an open system. New stuff's coming in. We don't know. Any indicator could change based on news or whatever the case is, but according to the volume weighted average price, which is a cool thing. Excuse me, the anchored volume weighted average price, because we are anchored at 3 months. It's really interesting here. You're getting price and that cumulative volume too. So it's a fascinating read on this, just suggesting the way that the VWAP line does, that buyers are now in control. What an interesting point to get buyers into control if that's what's happening here at the potential end of a flag pattern, a longer term flag. It should be, it could be interesting to see. Now, if we wanted to, we could also come over here because we have the indicator. The scan has spotted this for us. Let's go over here and take a look at this. What's that high right there? Can we adjust this, folks? You bet we can. We can get more reads on this. We already looked at the daily. We saw the price pattern and we saw the breakout on a daily chart on the VWAP line. But what about this line here? What is this showing in terms of the volume? Where does it stand? The VWAP. That is 813. So this is a really cool indicator. You can just keep going in and just saying, well, I want to find accumulation of price and volume at that point. 813, boom. There you go. Oh, I forgot. It always defaults to the daily. Now the hourly chart could be cool. Look at the hourly. Now I didn't mean to take us to a shorter term time frame, but reverse, very close there. Here, 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 here. Right there. You close above there with the volume. How did we find this though? It was that ThinkScript scan that gave us the ability to look at the different time frames. Let's flip it to a daily though and just see how similar. But that's a lot. I mean, that's much more more minute level and a lot more data there for sure. I'll do another example and we'll take a look at it. I do want to put on a sample trade on this too. Maybe a couple of these just to get something we can look at going forward here. Now let's go over here and flip this guy into a daily. There it is. That's what we were looking for. Look at that. Right there. Does it almost match the 3 month? Very, very close. There's enough data in there. If there was like a weekly sort of a swing trade or a flag, it might be showing that for us. So there you have it. Very, very similar. What was another one we saw in here? Well, let's do this. I'm going to put a trade on here just so we have one under our belt. Kind of an expensive stock, you could say, generally speaking. I'm just going to put let's just do this. We'll just put a trade on here and we'll go back and maybe look at it later to monitor it. But here is 50 shares. And by the way, if the target, of course, could be the swing trade target. So let's just put this in as an example trade. I think we can get that filled right now. Okay, and we did. So we put 50 shares on there. Like I said, building on top of that swing longer term and a potential breakout. I already had one on that CrowdStrike that I showed you guys earlier. Now let's do another one that might fit in the same time frame here. Here's a scan. Funny to look at here. Haven't looked at ADI. ADI is in there for the 3 month. ADI. Okay, ADI to the downside. Okay, this is interesting. Oh, it's got this time frame. I want to go to the 3 month because that's what the scan hit, and it doesn't match anything here, right? So remember, there's a custom time frame. If you're going back and forth the way I am, and I'm just kind of show you guys this, make sure you match it up so you can see it right there. So totally different now. Potential support. Look over here with me. Hit there, We went back up above it. There you go. Now, what does this look like on a daily? Is this a flag pattern? Because it sure looks like it from here. Do we have a longer one that could be in play or setting up? And by the way, look at that target right up at the T1 level. Here you go. Here's your target, or I'm sorry, here's your 1 year. Do you see it? Okay. Here is a swing and a swing right there. Potentially, that's what traders might be looking at, but bouncing or possibly even holding off that level, kind of like we saw right there, off of a support point. So I think this is fascinating. I really appreciate you guys hitting this topic request. Many of you are very, very familiar with it, you know, as you go into these. And just as a quick note too, encourage you, if you like that shorter term time frame, I do teach a class on swing trading, and here it is right here. It's under our playlist. By the way, I'd love to have you subscribe if you're not subscribed already. There is that playlist. Hit one yesterday where we combined a number of different elements. You know what we didn't combine was we did the volume, but we didn't do the AV WAP, which would have been a fascinating one to look at. I'll throw this in if you guys want to take a look at it, just into the chat. But this talks about the different swing trade time frames that we look at, and maybe some ideas for potential exits and entries as well. But there you have it right there. It's for the swing trading aspect of it. Folks, if you're finding value out of this presentation, smash that like button. It does help the YouTube algorithm. And JB did mention in the chat that there is a survey in the chat, and there's only 2 questions on that. If you get a chance to fill that out, that would be fantastic. There's, you know, and you can make mention, because I do love the topic requests that come in. But all right, well, folks, that is what I had today for you. If you did want to take a look, though, at that zero lag indicator, Ben taught this class for me last week, and the zero lag we did was right here, the zero lag exponential moving average. So that is just in this class, this ThinkScript class, and that will give you sometimes an earlier read, but this could be more like a confirmatory sort of an indication. It's giving the average price and the average volume together. So some ideas in there. But remember, within this scan, very, very helpful to make sure you're scanning in the time frame that matches the, you know, how you trade. And you can do that very easily right there. Okay, I think we got, okay, quick question from Tam. Yeah, so once I imported the script, is it saved, or do I need to paste the script? Okay, yeah, good question. So once you've imported it and you've hopefully saved it to a name that you recognize, if not, you can just find it based on the date. It'll say scan and date, but that's nice to have it so then you can reference it in the future. Go over here, make sure you're in the scan and the stock hacker to the far right, that little hamburger icon right there. It's the middle hamburger icon. And you click on that and you go into load because you've already saved it, okay? It's saved as you downloaded it. Now go in and just find it here. You can go into your personal folders and you'll have it right in there. And then you'll pull it up and you can scan it. So it's there for you, right in scan, stock hacker. You guys will have it. But yeah, it was so cool to be able to put in price. I'm with you, Will. Price, cumulative price with cumulative volume set over different time frames. Wanted to leave you guys with that. And folks, I'm going to be out for a little bit because we do have these sabbaticals coming up. I just didn't want you to think I'd just taken off for a little bit. But hey, I think we left off on an interesting class and hope you get a lot out of it. And thanks again, JB, for your help in the chat. Everybody, have a fantastic rest of the day. And let's see. Okay, I'll hit it again. Yeah, you can hit it again. And there you go. Yeah, you can scan it very quickly. I'm just in the NASDAQ 100. Certainly, take a look at the S&P 500. You want a bigger basket of stocks? Scan in. It's right at your fingertips. By the way, it'll get it to you very, very quick as well. Watch this. Let's go through 500 companies, and it's looking at a lot. You got 59 that broke within the last 3 days. You might want to narrow that down to 1 day, though. All right, everybody. Hey, have a good rest of the day and a good weekend coming up, and we'll see you in a little bit.